Welcome to Big W Barbecue. Today we're going to be smoking up a Thanksgiving classic, the turkey. Don't worry, I'm going to try and give you some tips and pointers so that your turkey does not turn out like that one. But before we get started with the preparation, let's talk a little bit about this turkey. So I've got about a 10-pound bird here. I went ahead and purchased this from our local grocery store. It was pre-frozen. There are kind of two ways that you can buy it. The most popular way is a frozen one, and the other is, which it's gonna be a little bit tougher to find, and you probably only find it around Thanksgiving time, and that is a minimally processed, not frozen turkey. That's probably the best way you can go if you can find it, but oftentimes it's just not possible. And there's nothing wrong with buying a frozen one. You just got to have a little more time ahead to let it thaw out. So just keep that in mind there. If you're curious on how long it'll take to completely thaw out a turkey, it is going to be about 3 pounds per day. One thing that's very crucial is that the whole turkey is completely thawed. The reason being is if any of the meat is frozen and some isn't, you're going to get an extremely uneven cook. And anytime we're working with poultry, you got to be very careful with the cooking temperature. There's a term that kind of goes around in the smoking community, and that's called the danger zone. And that is going to be about 40 to 140 degrees. That's going to be the temperature where the turkey is most susceptible to growing bacteria. So the ideal state is to get through that danger zone as quick as possible. So with all that being said, when you're picking out a turkey to be smoked, I would definitely recommend something around 10 pounds. You could probably bump up to close to 12. But you don't want to get much larger than that, primarily because of that danger zone. Since we're going to be cooking this at a low temperature, we don't want the turkey to be in that danger zone for too long. If you're in need of more than 10 or 12 pounds of meat, go ahead and buy 2 smaller turkeys. Again, this is primarily just when you're smoking. If you're going to be cooking it in the oven or a roaster, you don't have to necessarily worry about that because you're going to be cooking it at a higher temperature. Something else to keep in mind, anytime you're dealing with a frozen turkey, is that they were probably handled prior to, and a solution was probably injected to help with the tenderness as well as the moisture. So keep that in mind if you're going to be brining the turkey, which I did last night. Since this turkey had already been processed, as you can see here, it was 8% solution. That's going to impact the amount of salt I'm going to be putting into the brine. My brine solution I used contained half a gallon of buttermilk, half a cup kosher salt, and I went ahead and mixed those two together up in a bowl. After that, I went ahead and I took the turkey over to the sink. I removed all the packaging and the netting, and I started rinsing it off. After rinsing it off for a little bit, I went ahead and removed all of the innards.
Save the neck for me, Clark. Okay, Eddie.
Once that was complete, I went ahead and put this turkey in a 2-gallon Ziploc bag, which this is another good reason on why a smaller turkey is handy, is because you can put the solution into a Ziploc bag instead of having to find a large enough container or a cooler or something like that, where you can let the turkey submerge. Once the turkey was in the bag, I went ahead and grabbed my bowl of brining solution and I poured that in as well. After adding in the buttermilk and salt, I went ahead and added another half gallon of water. One thing that I would do different here if this was a minimally processed turkey is I would add another half cup of salt. After filling up the Ziploc bag, I went ahead and sealed it up. Then I took it to the refrigerator and let it sit there overnight. So this particular turkey here sat in the fridge for about 9 hours overnight. I would recommend going anywhere from 4 to 10 hours. Since that's a decent amount of time, I definitely recommend go ahead and do that overnight. Then this morning, I went ahead and removed the turkey from the fridge and took it back over to the sink. I poured out all the brining solution as well as the turkey, and then I went ahead and rinsed off the turkey really well. You want to get rid of all that buttermilk and salt off of the surface of the turkey. Once the turkey was rinsed off pretty well, I went ahead and moved the turkey over here and I patted it dry with paper towel. One of the things you may be asking is, why are we brining the turkey? Well, there's a couple different things here. So there's probably 2 primary ways of doing this, either brining or injecting. And the reason being is since the turkey is going to be out on the smoker for several hours here, it does have a tendency to dry out. So when you're adding a brine mixture or injecting, you're just adding more fluid to the meat. You're naturally going to lose some of that fluid, but this is just giving it a little extra boost. If you've never tried brining before, I would definitely recommend it. You can never have too much moisture when it comes to turkey. So the next step I'm going to be doing is is completely optional. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and pry out the skin off the breast meat a little bit there. I'm going to cut up little pieces of butter, as well as I'm going to add some rub to underneath the skin. The reason being is that the skin, it's not very porous, right? So any rub and stuff you put on the outside isn't going to get into the meat, and this will give it a little bit closer contact. So kind of the trick here is you're just going to try and kind of find a little excess skin here, and just kind of pry it up with your fingers. You want to be careful that you don't tear the skin. You have to come from a couple different angles here. So I went ahead and cut up a few pieces of butter here, just little thin slices. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop them in some rub here. And then just go ahead and slide it in under the skin there that you kind of pried away. I used about a half a stick of butter there. So now I'm going to go ahead and what's called trussing the turkey. If you're not familiar with that, all it is basically just holding the wings and the legs and everything nice and tight to the rest of the bird. The reason being is that's just going to give it a little bit better presentation, when you pull it off of the smoker. Some people like to bring the turkey right to the table, cut it there. If you fall into that group, I definitely recommend go ahead and trussing the turkey. When you removed and cleaned out the turkey, you may remember there was a plastic piece of plastic, I guess, that was holding the two legs together. You can use that if you want to keep that instead of throwing that away. But I've got some butcher twine here that I'm going to be using, so I'll show you how to do that. So you want to get a pretty decent size line here. So what you're going to do first is you're going to bring it up here where the neck would have been. Rotate this here. You're going to go ahead and push the wings up close to the body, and then you're going to fall right in between the two legs there. You're going to go ahead and cross them up, slide under the legs, wrap under the back. Pull that tight. And the tricky part here comes with the legs. I think it's going to be easier just to wrap around each leg once. Pull those together tight. Wrap around this once more too. Once you're back around, go ahead and tie that off a couple times. Okay. Then you can go ahead and trim off any excess string here. Alrighty, so now you can see everything's back compact together again. Didn't do a real good job with the wings there, but good enough there to keep things together, so that's good there. So yeah, you definitely want to do the trussing before the next step if you are going to. I'm going to be adding olive oil to the outside, and as soon as you do that, things get pretty slick there, so definitely recommend that. So I've just got some olive oil here. I'm going to go ahead and give it a good coating here all over the skin. The reason why I'm doing that is to give the rub something to stick to, as well as that's going to help golden up that skin as well. I'm not too worried about the underside. If you want to, you definitely can, but this is how it's going to be sitting on the smoker, so that's the main thing I'm worried about. Okay. And once you're at that point, you can go ahead and add your rub. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now we're going to, shortly here, we're going to be taking it out to the smoker. But before doing that, I do want to make a couple comments here. Oftentimes these turkeys will come with an internal thermometer, and you know, they've got the little red dial on top. One of the things before this cook is I went ahead and did a little research on the proper, you know, the best tips and stuff on how to cook a turkey. And one of the things I ran across I thought was very interesting, I wanted to share with you, is that these internal thermometers here, the way that they work is that there's a spring inside, and it's being compressed with some plastic. And then once it reaches the right temperature, that plastic melts, and then the spring releases, and it pops up the red dial. Now, what was interesting is that the temperature on when that pop happens, and they were saying that it happens at about 180 to 185 degrees. The problem is that we're only want to cooking the breast meat to 165 degrees. So if you're relying on that thermometer only, you know, there's a good chance that you could actually overcook the turkey if you rely on that circuit. So that's why it's important to have a probe to check the internal temperature and not rely on this thermometer here. So now let's talk about how we're going to cook this. I'm going to be cooking this out on the Weber Smoky Mountain. I'm going to have a pit temperature of about 250 degrees. I'm going to be using apple wood as the smoke, and what you're going to be looking for is about half the time you want a good smoke. Kind of a ballpark figure here, as you can figure anywhere from a half hour to 45 minutes per pound of turkey. So in that case here, I'm guessing that this will take about 5.5 hours. So I'm going to be looking for about, you know, 2.5, 3 hours worth of smoke there. So just something to keep in mind. Since this turkey is going to be cooking for quite a while, you want to keep an eye out on the skin color. Once you reach the desired color that you're looking for, I would recommend tenting a piece of tin foil over it, just to kind of you know, deflect some of the heat there, just so you don't get too brown. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and fire up the grill. We're back inside now. It took a little over 3 hours to get to 165 degrees in the breast meat. I ended up actually cooking it a little bit higher, probably closer to 275 rather than 250. So it got done a little bit quicker than expected, but nothing wrong with that there. So yeah, everything looks good. It's got a good color to it, smells good. I can see a lot of moisture left, so that's promising so far there. So yeah, let's go ahead and dig in. Go ahead and remove a slab of the breast here. Yeah, you see you got quite a bit of moisture left there. Smells good. Can't wait to try this. Move this off to the side. So yeah, like I was mentioning here, we have a lot of moisture left. Got a little bit of a smoke ring going there, which is good. The skin looks good too. Let's go ahead and try some here. Yeah, that hits the spot. That's some good turkey right there. Yeah, we taste the smoke flavor. You still got some moisture left to it, and yeah, that's some pretty good stuff there. So yeah, everything turned out great. So real quick recap here on what we did. We smoked this at about close to 275 degrees. It was a little under 10-pound bird, which ended up taking a little over 3 hours to cook. So yeah, we brought it up to 165 degrees internal temp, brought it inside, wrapped it up in tin foil, let it sit for about a half hour or so, and then we dug right in. So yeah, I hope this video has given you some tips and some pointers here as you approach the Thanksgiving season here. I hope that your turkey turns out just as great. If you've enjoyed this video, please do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button down here on the bottom, as well as if you want to stay up to date on the most recent videos, go ahead and subscribe to this channel here, or you can like us on Facebook as well. I hope you guys have a terrific Thanksgiving with all your family and friends. Thanks for joining me today, and happy Thanksgiving.